Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. It's getting quite cold here, so sweater weather is back. um, Today, I want to talk about a very important topic, and I really hope this can be helpful to you guys because 2026 will be your year. I promise 2026 will be your year. And it's not like previous years where you're saying each year, this will be my year. And then 1 month later, end of January, you already gave up. And then back to the same old routine. And then you gave up already on your goals and your projects. This year is going to be different. And you know why? Because this year, you're going to keep yourself accountable. Before I jump into the video, I just want to give you a little bit of context about myself. So I have stayed in a job I hated for very long. I have struggled with anxiety, burnt out, and also like some beginning of depression. Um, and I was always telling myself like this year is gonna be different. And then I had the little boost of motivation that everyone has, around the end of the year, beginning of the new year. But then it would fade eventually, and I would get back to the same old life. And 2 years ago, that's when I have started taking things differently, and I have really noticed a big difference in my life. I am now in a very different place than I was 2 years ago, and in 2024 and now 2025, I have stuck to my goals and I have always accomplished what I said I would. Even now, 2025 is not even finished, and I have basically already accomplished everything that I have written on my goals and my vision board, etc. So I hope this can be as helpful to you guys as it was to me. If you have any questions or doubts or even advice for some people that I haven't mentioned in this video, please make sure to comment. I would love to for us to create a community where we can all help each other, because I know maybe some things can be useful to another person which wasn't useful to me, for example. So make sure to comment and share with the rest of us, and let's try to all together motivate ourselves to go um, into the year with really all the baggage we need to accomplish your goals, basically. um, and also, before I jump into the rest of the video, I'm so sorry, my disclaimer is quite long. But I want to say, even though we are talking about our 2026 goals, you don't need to wait until 1st of January 2026 to start, because that's one of my pet peeves. And that's what also changed a lot in my mindset, is that I have stopped saying like, oh, I'm gonna wait until then to start. What I can start today, I'm gonna do today already. Like, one of my goals was to start saving money, more money in 2025. And you know what, I made that goal already around like November, beginning of November 2024. And I already started putting into practice everything I had planned for saving more money. I already did it in November and December, because why am I going to waste 2 months of progress just because it's not the new year yet? you know so don't fall into this trap. You can already start now. You don't have to start until January. Okay, so first thing, and this one is very important, don't skip it, please. It's to write down your goals, but not like you have been doing each year. You need to write it really as detailed as possible. When you write your goals, if you write vague goals, like it's really vague and not really clear and not really, really detailed, even your brain, your head is not sure how exactly they can accomplish that. It's really important to write your goals very detailed. Like, let's say, I want to save more money. That's too vague. You cannot write that as a goal. You have to say, I want to save 30,000 euros in that year and saving approximately this much per month. And you can write it differently, something that fits with your lifestyle. Like, for example, I want to save 30,000 euros per month by saving 40% of my income each month. You know, this is really random numbers that I'm just saying right now, out of the top of my head. It doesn't have to make sense, but it's just for you to understand what I mean by saying you need to be really detailed. You need your goal to be as detailed as possible, so that you can write like really practical steps, action steps that you can take. Because when you give a vague, you write a vague goal, then the action plan is also going to be vague, if you know what I mean. So be detailed, guys. That's really important. Second step, and this is going to be linked to your first step of writing down your goal, is to make a vision board. And guys, this one, I have always underestimated it, and I have always kind of judged the people who are doing this. I'm sorry, but actually, I'm sorry to say, but it works, and it's really because once you have written your really detailed um, goals and projects for the coming year, you can also put really detailed things into your vision board. Because what I have seen a lot of people do, they make a vision board for the aesthetics. So they're like, oh, let me put this aesthetic picture, this aesthetic picture. But I mean, what's the link with your goals? What is the detailed like explanation behind that picture, for example? So it's really important to make your vision board as detailed as your goals that you have written down in the first step. And once you have your vision board, I need you to put it on your laptop background picture and on your phone also wallpaper, because I have done that beginning of the year and I still have the same picture. I never changed it because I work on my laptop. So I literally open my laptop every single day and I see it every time I need to unlock my laptop. And same for my phone. You know, we are on our phone all the time. So every time I take my phone, I see my vision board. I have made a mobile version and a laptop version. So, you know, making a vision board and then forgetting about it, then it's useless. Then don't make it, you know. If you make a vision board and you want it to work, you need to see it every day and even multiple times a day. That keeps you accountable as well. And speaking of accountability, you will need to start keeping yourself accountable. And that's a hard one because we're always going soft on ourselves, always like, it's okay, you didn't do it because you were tired. It's okay, at least you tried, you know? We're always trying to make ourselves feel better, but that's not going to bring us anywhere. So I need you to start keeping yourself accountable in a more formal way. Like at the end of each week, write down in your journal, what have I done to bring me closer to my goal? Because you have to think that way. Every single thing you do each day is either bringing you closer to your goals or bringing you further from your goals. There's no in between. Because let's say you're doing nothing, for me, that is bringing you further away from your goal, you know. And even if you're doing the smallest thing, even if it's just bringing you 0.1% closer to your goals, you're already one step forward, which is really satisfying. So I need you to ask yourself that question at the end of each week. What did I do this week to bring me closer to my goals? And you can even do the opposite way, like asking also to yourself, what did I do that kept me further away from my goals? Because if you really write it down and you really keep yourself accountable, you will start like reflecting more and be like, yeah, that's true. I have each week, for example, I have woken up and chilled in my bed for 1 hour and I didn't do anything, while I could have done my pilates that I said I was going to do, you know. And so for example, this you could write it down in your accountability journal. Like, actually, I have skipped pilates for 1 week because I was too lazy to get out of bed. And this is actually one thing that pushed you further away from your goals, because for example, your goal could have been to do pilates more regularly to achieve your goal weight or your goal body, or even just for well-being, like you want to be more fit. The fact that you did nothing kept you away from that goal, if you know what I'm saying. This one, guys, I promise, super important, and for me it really really changed a lot in my mindset, is to start reading, listening, watching. So reading more books. And when I say more books, if you like reading fiction, that's fine, but you need to add also nonfiction to that, because you need to add books that will be inspiring you, motivating you, that will really also keep you accountable. I love reading books like biographies of successful entrepreneurs, or self-development book, you know, personal health books, um, even business books in general, finance books. Depending on what your goal is, you need to read books that will be aligned with your vision and your goals. And that's the same for listening and watching. Listening to podcasts, same thing like the books, for about topics and people that are aligned with your vision, and people that you look up to, people that are where you want to be in life. And same for like movies. I know that movies mainly are fiction, but if you're going to watch a movie, try to find movies that are aligned with your vision and your goals, or even documentaries. There are a lot of also documentaries for personal help, personal development on YouTube. We have so many resources nowadays. So when you want to spend time watching or reading or listening to something, try to make it align with what you want in life. And I promise, guys, this changes a lot. For me personally, I prefer reading over podcasts and movies. So I read a lot of nonfiction, and I love reading. So you have to know I read a lot of fiction as well. But for me, um, it was very important for me that I shifted from mainly reading fiction, and even more specifically, I love fantasy. But I made that shift to 100% fantasy, to now like maybe 50-50. Or sometimes, for example, this year, I actually read more nonfiction and personal development books than I read fantasy books, which is fine. I really, you start enjoying it. So I really enjoy reading all those nonfiction books, and you start really learning a lot that you actually kind of get addicted to it in a good way, because it always keeps you motivated, inspired. It makes you keep going because you see all those people, what they're doing, what they're struggling with, what struggles they have overcome already, and you realize that we're all the same humans, and what makes it different is a mindset. Because, like, let's say a successful entrepreneur you look up to is the same human you are. The only different, they have a different mindset. So it's really important to start working on your mindset, and it happens really naturally over time. The more you start reading, listening to podcasts, and because a lot of people are saying, how can I change my mindset? And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens really progressively and naturally. You don't even notice that the change happened until you look back to like a few months ago or a year ago. That's why a lot of people love journaling, and I also recommend it, because when you journal daily, because as I said, day to day you don't notice your mindset shift, but when you look back, like you take your journal for a year ago and you read the entries that you have written, and you realize, wow, I have changed so much. Like for me personally, compared to 1 year ago, I have changed so much, but that year ago I had already changed so much compared to the year before. And it's really satisfying, and you feel like you're doing something. Like, you're not just making empty promises, you really are doing something, and you really are changing, and you become so proud of yourself, honestly. Next one, this one, it requires a lot of effort, because it will require you to get out of your comfort zone, but it's time to start connecting and talking with people who are where you want to be in life. And that's the same as when I was explaining about books and podcasts, where you're trying to read or listen to people who are where you want to be in life. Now try to get some real life contact with those people. And it doesn't have to be famous people or whatever, but just people who inspire you, maybe around you. You know, when you start opening your eyes and looking closely, there are a lot more people who are doing well around you. You don't need to go far, like on internet or on YouTube or on social media. Um, Sometime around you, you can just ask people. Like, let's say your dream is to start um, to open your coffee shop. Next time when you go to a coffee shop, try to talk to the coffee shop owner, or even someone just working there. Start asking questions, or even if it's like more corporate environment, if your goal is more like corporate, you can always reach out to people on LinkedIn. um, just, I know it's difficult, especially for me. For example, I used to be a very introverted person, super shy. I'm still kind of introverted, but it used to be way worse, and this was so difficult. And I realized that now it's much easier for me to reach out to people, and that's also one of the things where I realized that I have actually changed a lot. And this one, it's a bonus, but I recommend to everyone to start saving more money. I think saving more money should be on everyone's goals list, because what I have noticed the past 2 years is that when you start saving more money and you have more savings, you have like a backup in your bank account, you become also more um, like more in trust to pursue your dreams, to pursue your goals, because you know that you have a baggage of money that you have put aside. It's really a safety net. So that's why people really insist on saving money, because when you save more money, it opens more doors. Let's say you want to start something, or you have that goal, you want to start a new project, a new business. um, you won't be blocked by that financial aspect because you have already saved some money. Of course, it depends what kind of business, because if you need to start a business that requires like hundreds of thousands of euros, then yeah, then it's not the same thing. But sometimes when we want to start some side hustle, we don't need that much money. If you just have a few hundred euros, it can already help you start that side hustle you've been dreaming about. um, and it's not even just about projects, you know, emergencies can happen to everyone, whether it's medical emergency, financial emergencies. It's really important to always have some money saved up. So definitely add this one to your list. This is the advice of an accountant here. So I will be making a video about how to save more money, because I have saved a lot of money putting into place a very practical guide that I definitely want to share with you. And I think the next video I'll post will be about that topic. So stay tuned if you're interested in that as well. And yeah, I guess that's it for today's video. But keep remembering that this year will be your year. And if you keep yourself accountable each time, then it will be fine. And you will see, you'll be so proud of yourself because you're going to stick to your goals, and you have made it more realistic to achieve your goals because you have written a practical action step and very detailed goal, so you can do it. There's no reason you cannot do it. You and I are the same human beings. You and I are the same human beings as whatever successful person who have made it by themselves as well. So if other people can do it, we can do it too. So I hope you have a good day or a good night, depending on when you're watching this. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And again, feel free to comment. I would love to hear your opinion as well. See you.